Do you like? Are you now at the place where you are kind of a gravity well? I mean, a name well enough that people come to you with good ideas. Whereas if you're just getting started, how do you find new ideas? I don't know. It's like you have to get invited.
I think it is a lot harder. Yeah. I rarely go out and seek out games from other designers. We have a submission form on our website where designers come to us and say, hey, we want Stonemaier Games, or I want Stonemaier Games to publish my game, which is great. We have the luxury of that. I also have the luxury of a lot of volunteers. It's actually a weird industry in that there are a lot of people who want to volunteer to just be a part of my company or be a part of whatever publisher they're really passionate about. They volunteer to proofread, they volunteer to play test. I do pay them to do these things, but at the initial part of it is they say, I want to do this. I want to help you out at the next convention. That to me is really cool. Do you see that in many other industries that you?
Yeah, actually, I was just thinking about that at its core, the places that are the most successful are those that have a wide enough opening of we're building this together that people can see themselves in it. And when it's the idea that they are contributing their time is only the part that they're saying, well, I want to be a part of it, which I think that that's really important. And I think that it also requires a great deal of humility on the part of the person that is putting things together, because you could be like, nope, it's mine. And I don't really, of course, I think everybody from the outside could be like, yeah, but that now you're getting free labor and you said you paid for it. But I think at its core, you're also opening up so that they can see themselves being a part of your brand. And that requires humility, because you want it to be yours, or you could want it to be totally yours, and you have all this fame, but you've opened it up wide enough that people see themselves in that portrait. Yeah.
I think it's you have to strike a little bit of a balance there. I think it's good to have a vision and to have something that drives you. I certainly have, I'm driven to bring joy to tabletops worldwide. That's my goal. But I found very early on that people know more things about games than I do. As many games as I've played, as many things that I know, people have played different games. That's one of the reasons I have my YouTube channel. On my YouTube channel, I talk about one game a couple times a week. I talk about a specific game and I say, this is the thing I love about it. Tell me your thoughts on this game. Tell me about other games that you've played. And inevitably in the comments, I learned so much from other games that I should play or could play or don't need to play, because someone describes the cool thing about it that I need to learn from it. So yeah, just to have that constant flow of input from our ambassadors, that's our volunteer program, and just people who take the time to comment on a blog or comment on a YouTube channel. It's extremely helpful. Do you have that sense of community through your podcast? Do people comment and join the conversation?
Yeah. So during coronavirus, I had gone from traveling all over the world to give speeches to now I'm at home and my wife is pregnant, and I was very concerned about coronavirus. So I started cranking out 3 podcasts a day sometimes. And I would call up some of the world's leading experts that could tell us things that you weren't seeing in the news. And suddenly I started having people saying, hey, can I contribute? Hey, can I donate money? Hey, I want to help you do this. And it was like a very surreal experience, because I'd never done anything where my work, people wanted to write themselves into it. And so I ended up starting a group called the Articulate Ventures Network, where people were like, they actually join. There's a website for it, and they can have this community, and we have like places where you can practice public speaking. We did a movie night last night. We have a book club, and it has been a real experience for me, because when I went from I'm in charge of the Articulate Ventures Network to I've got a vision for where we can go, but if you know how to build community better than me, then hop in here. You can run this group and you can run that group. And I think it's been a far more enriching experience than if I was just at the top of the mountain being like, here is my group. But it also took me letting go of being, I want it to look like this. I want it to sound like this. So to me, hearing you as a large business owner describe this, I mean, it makes me really admire you in a big way.
Well, thanks. And I can totally relate to what you just said as well. I experienced that actually with Facebook groups initially. Oh, there are many other examples, but Facebook groups have become a huge part of the community building aspect of my company. But initially it was someone that came to me and said, hey, Jamey, you don't have any Facebook groups. I really love this one game of yours. Can I create a Facebook group for that game? And I was like, at the time I was like, I don't want to manage. This is one more thing to manage, more time to spend. I don't want to manage that, but sure, go ahead and do it. Thanks for offering that. And that I ended up becoming a lot more involved than I thought I would, because the community there was awesome. And we now have a group for each of our games. So if you love one of our games, you can join that Facebook group. It's become a huge part of the company. And it started with a volunteer who said, I want to do this. I want to do this. And even now, the involvement of in those game groups are largely people who ask like rule questions, or want to share a fun photo that they took during a game. And other people are chiming in with answers to those questions. I don't have to be nearly as involved. Like if we didn't have any volunteers, I would spend all of my time answering rules questions. But because we have so many people who know my games just as well as I do, they're supporting, like it's self-fulfilling, self-building, because they're helping the game, helping people learn the games and play the games. It's awesome.
Thanks for checking out this podcast short. If you like this interview, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and hit that bell so you always get notified about this podcast. And if you're really interested in conversations like this, you may want to consider joining the Articulate Ventures Network. To find out more, go to network.articulate.ventures.